friendo, Steve here. Welcome back to the channel. It's time for another Ask Wrestle Juice. That's right, I put up a community tab, a QA thread, and you guys asked a lot of great questions. Couldn't get to them all. I might type out some responses for some of the questions I didn't get to, so be sure to visit Wrestle Juice for that community thread. Go back to it and see if your question was answered. If it wasn't answered here on the show. If I didn't, I apologize. I try to get to as many of these as possible. Let's go ahead and dive into it. Before we get started, do me a favor, give this video a thumbs up if you haven't already. Hit that subscribe button and the little notify bell. Make sure you always get your Wrestle Juice content. We're going to start off with Hedglin. Do you think they will ever acknowledge Bron Breaker's family and finally call him a Steiner? Now, clearly, they don't mind referencing in every way possible, except his name, the fact that he's a Steiner. Now, I think it'd be terrific with all that money WWE has and a report recently that suggests Vince McMahon has no problems with Scott Steiner. Now is the time you go all in on Bron Breakker being Rex Steiner, the name that originally they were going to have, or Bronson Steiner. I forget which one it was. I think it was Rex Steiner was the name they were going to go with. So he loses to Ciampa. And then Tuesday, the next episode of NXT, or maybe the following Tuesday, he disappears for a day because he got outclassed by Ciampa. By the way, go watch NXT 2.0. I know I was going to do a video on how much it sucks, but now I kind of like it a lot. Next time you see Bron Breakker, he shows up and he's like, I'm not Bron Breakker. That name has held me back over the past 5 weeks. I don't know why I allowed WWE to do that to me. I'm a Steiner. I'm Rex Steiner. And by the way, here's my new managers. And Rick Steiner and Scott Steiner show up, and they're his new managers. You get all the Steiners together, and then he becomes an unbeatable machine because they have the knowledge to help him beat Tommaso Ciampa the next time they go round. I think that'd be sick. That would generate so much goddamn buzz for NXT 2.0. You have no idea. I think that'd be absolutely fantastic. So I hope they do. I don't know that they will, but I get the feeling they won't because I think they rebrand people so that they can't use their other names they can't use the WWE name when they leave or anything close to it. So I get the feeling that they're not going to, but man, they make every single allusion to it that you possibly can. I think it'd be awesome if they went ahead and did that. Steven Navarez. He says, first time questioner, long time viewer. I would love to know how your family and friends reacted to you making content for a living then versus now. Then, like 10 years ago when I started this, they were into it because I made money doing this. And now they're into it because I make even more money doing this. So it's been cool. There hasn't been any big gaps where I'm like, oh man, I gotta get a real job. My career in making content since 2009 has been a fairly steady, pretty much an upwards trajectory type situation. So yeah, my family's always been into it. It allows me a lot of freedoms. I can kind of make, to a degree, my own hours. Kind of like it's Friday today, and I'm gonna miss out on my kid's Halloween fair she's having at her school, but Lacey's gonna take her. So I mean, there are certain things that I can't do. But by and large, they think it's pretty great because I get to be home all the time. Moving on, No Haven asks, do you think NXT 2.0 is the best way for a company to focus on younger talent, or should they have started a new program for that, like a YouTube exclusive show? So there was a rumor going around, a year ago, something like that maybe it was pre-pandemic, that in addition to NXT Prime, they were going to start up a network exclusive shows before the Peacock thing. That was going to be like an NXT Evolve show. Evolve was the territory that WWE bought and then folded. And that's where you were going to see a lot of the developmental talents. They just sort of turned NXT 2.0 into a hybrid of 1.0 and that developmental show, and now we have 2.0. So it's interesting that they're just sort of throwing all these people they just signed in February out there on cable TV. But is it the best way for them to focus on the younger talent? I mean, might as well. You get to see them from the ground up. So, and for me, it's found its groove and it's paced well. And there's a good mix of brand new rookies and people who know how to wrestle. So I don't know. It's working so far. I'm curious to see where it's going to be a year from now. The ratings have been relatively steady and consistent, so we'll see if they're able to keep that going. It does have people talking on a week-to-week basis, so we'll see how that all plays out. It'll be interesting. It'll be more interesting like 6 months from now to revisit that question. Doolittle asks, I think Eric Bischoff deserves the credit he gets for building WCW into a powerhouse, but he doesn't get enough credit for how big a role he played in running it out of business so soon after its peak. What are your thoughts on Eazy-E and how he paints himself as some kind of television genius these days? Eric Bischoff doesn't really admit, I mean, in all the interviews I've seen and everything I've listened to from Eric Bischoff, he definitely paints things from his perspective. And I haven't seen a whole lot of, I don't know. I'm not going to really comment on that too much because I haven't seen everything that he said. I haven't listened to his podcast on a regular basis. I think that WCW was a giant mess, and he should be commended for bringing it to its peak. And I guess he does deserve a lot of the blame for its final demise. But then, you know, I mean, if you read the Guy Evans Nitro book, and I haven't actually read the Alvarez Death of WCW, I'm sure it's a lot more illuminative than I can be. But yeah, I mean, he does deserve some amount of the blame. I think that he built a house that eventually was not sustainable, and a lot of that was on him. The contracts that he was handing out just were not conducive to a company that could grow and be and remain profitable. I know that he made a big deal about when the company did become profitable under his watch. Well, eventually that spiraled out of control under his watch. So, yeah, I think for all the credit he gets, he does deserve quite a bit of the blame as well. But a lot of people deserve the blame for that. So, yeah, I don't think he deserves the sole blame for that. Simon Bullock, have Impact missed the boat with Moose? I kind of feel like he was at his peak creatively when he faced Rich Swann at Sacrifice in March for both titles, and it's kind of been floating around since. And how long does Josh Alexander chase the title before he gets it back? I hope he does get it back. My concern is that they feel he's not a big enough name, and maybe his chase will enable him to become that name. Now that rumor has it, the relationship between Impact and AEW is done with. As far as missing the boat with Moose, I mean, it's been years. He probably should have been world champion years ago. And what happened at Bound for Glory was pretty shocking when he cashed in his pick your shot trophy. I don't think they've really missed the boat. I saw his promo from last night. I thought it was really solid. I thought it was a really good promo where he called out basically all the other champions in wrestling, and now we get to see what he's going to be like as a champion. I think they're gonna do well with it. I really do. I'm optimistic. Marvell asks, should AEW add a few more unique titles to help bolster Dark, Elevation, and Rampage, such as a trios, light heavyweight, or hardcore? I wouldn't suggest a light heavyweight title because everybody in AEW is a light heavyweight. I'm not a huge fan of the hardcore title, although I do think that the FTW title should be defended as a proper title and not just Taz's piece of memorabilia put on guys he likes. And I do actually think that there should be a developmental division, a Dark/Elevation championship, where they put it on the guy who is on the precipice of making it to Dynamite and Rampage, maybe have a bit of more of a separation between those two things. So yeah, I think if you added a title, something for people to fight for on Dark and Elevation, certainly it would probably get me more interested in it because I don't really watch it now. Tyler asks, watching AEW always have a slight disconnect in large tag matches when other wrestlers blatantly get involved, when in WWE would lead to a DQ and so on. Do you find this an issue with AEW as well? No, but that's a subjective thing. I love crazy, chaotic matches where the rules are loosely applied. I don't mind that. That's my own personal thing. I understand why people do have an issue with that. WWE relies way too much on DQ finishes for my liking. AEW doesn't. They could maybe rely on them a little bit more to drive stories, but no, I am a fan of hugely chaotic matches. I remember the first time I watched ECW in like 1998 when I moved down to LA. And the chaotic nature of the ECW rules type matches where like people would just be flying in and all these false finishes and the rules were just really loosely applied. I loved it. I loved it. I was like, this is the kind of chaos I like to see in my wrestling. AEW captures that. I'm okay with it. I understand why people aren't. I don't think there's a right answer there. If it bugs you, understandable. If it doesn't and you like it, you're with me. White Brownie, what's a storyline or character that either got cut short or left/released that you would have loved to have seen play out more? Like for me, I wanted to see where Moxley's Bane character in WWE would have gone, how he re-signed with them. I mean, kind of curious to see where Aleister Black was going to go in WWE with that Dark Father stuff. Probably would have been more interesting. I'm sorry, wouldn't have been as interesting as the stuff that he's doing now. Apologies, my phone just went off. Enforcer, not now. So, yeah, I kind of feel like I wanted to know where that was going to go. He just showed up, he black masked Big E, and then just left and did not show up again, which is really kind of funny. So I'll go with that one. KZ. Do you think that it's strange that WWE has fired a lot of husbands or boyfriends of current female wrestlers but kept the women? No, I don't think they pay attention to that at all. I think they just let go whoever they feel they're not using, regardless of their marital status. I don't think it's strange at all. Some guy. If the Hardy Brothers were to be reunited in AEW, how would you like to see them back? Would you like Jeff to join Hardy Family Office? Or perhaps bring back the Broken Brothers or something entirely new even? They'd have to put them together. What you'd probably do is turn Matt face and have because when Jeff shows up, they got to be together and everybody's going to cheer Jeff. So that's what you do. Unless you have Matt go so out of control with Hardy Family Office that Jeff is brought in to sort of bring him back to reality. They have a match and then they get back together. Zach asks, what's your favorite finisher names? The moves themselves you can be indifferent about, but the name of it is pretty great. Kill Switch. Hate the move, love the name. Joe Hansen. What are your goals with your personal Twitch channel? So I have a Twitch channel. It's called MF Steve Here. Simple, right? He says, do you want to keep it low key and something to use once in a while, or would you like to build up more of a following to be able to stream schedule around your going in raw duties? So I would like to do that. I'd like to eventually sort of settle on a WrestleJuice / MF Steve Here Twitch schedule, maybe 2 or 3 nights a week when I have availabilities depending on going in raw's schedule. Yes, I'd like to do that. Finding time to do that is kind of another issue. I had originally thought to do some live content here at WrestleJuice's YouTube channel, but I've ruled that out now. The live streaming apparatus here at YouTube is horrible. I wouldn't recommend anybody use it. I recommend everybody take your audience over to Twitch because it's a far better live streaming avenue. YouTube is 10 years behind the times when it comes to their live stream schedule. I do like their VOD. I think YouTube is great for that. We get to monetize it, and they have a lot of great VOD functions. Their live streaming apparatus is god awful. So I would love to do more NXT tryouts, more NXT stuff, the gaming stuff. I'd like to do more watch-alongs of NXT 2.0 with the Enforcer if he's down for it, and we don't do it on the Steven Larson channel. So yeah, I would very much like to do more stuff on the personal Twitch channel. It's just a matter of finding time. All right, that's going to do it for today. Thanks everybody for tuning in. I appreciate it. Till next time, we'll talk to you. Watch one of these other videos. You're not supposed to say goodbye on YouTube. You're supposed to push people other videos, so I'm just going to sit here awkwardly. Have a good Halloween.